Hello, welcome back to Turntable Guy. On the bench today we have what looks to be a Technics clone. It's branded as a Realistic LAB-390. So Realistic was Radio Shack's in-house brand. Man, that's stiff. They had several brands, Realistic, Optimus, Radio Shack, others. They did not make any of their electronics, or Tandy computer. Everything was obviously sent to an OEM, which manufactured all their products. And obviously their stereo equipment was made by several companies. I know that the Lab series with the wood finish, those are made by CEC, and obviously this one is made by Technics because it is a 100% Technics clone, except for a few features on the front panel here that are rearranged. I would say this is a Technics SLD2. I'm pretty sure this is a auto return. Yeah. So I'd say a Technics SLD2 disguised as a LAB-390. And just having said that, brings up a topic of brands and different brands that people are loyal to, that they want and are willing to pay more money for. Sometimes that can work in your favor, and sometimes it can work as a disadvantage. In this case, it would work as an advantage because you're probably going to pay less for the Realistic brand, right? And you're getting a Technics direct drive. So in this case, this table would probably sell for much less than a Technics SLD2, for example. Whereas other CEC manufactured tables, like Hitachi and the big one, Marantz, and even Yamaha, you're going to pay big bucks for one of those tables because it says Marantz or Yamaha or Hitachi or whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with the CEC tables. They are extremely high quality. But in essence, you're paying for the name and you're getting something that was manufactured on an OEM line. A great example of this is the Marantz 6300. I've seen those things sell upwards of $1,000. Are they worth it? Absolutely not. It's a CEC manufactured table. Yes, it was specifically designed for Marantz, but in essence, a Hitachi PS38 is a very similar table. Motor's probably exactly the same. Even some of these labs, I think it's the Lab 500, if I remember correctly. You'd know it. It's the wood grain classic Realistic lab table. Very directly related. So anyway, another thing I wanted to say is right before I was going to shoot this video, my camera fell from the ceiling and smashed right on top of this turntable, and I'm getting a lens error now. So I'm shooting this on another camera, and I'm sure the sound quality is absolutely horrible, so I apologize for that. I'm going to start hunting for a camcorder. If anybody's got any suggestions, if you want to leave it down in the comments section of a decent budget camcorder that's not going to cost me an arm and a leg, that's going to take decent video, at that 720 or 1080p, and have a decent quality microphone. That's very important. So the owner, who was a record dealer, dropped this off. I guess he got it either for a song and a dance or nothing. He mentioned that we got a cable issue here. I think he's right. So probably the cables are fine, it's just the plugs are bad, so it needs plugs. And it needs a service. Probably pitch control, speed. This anti-skate was horribly gummy. The queuing seems to work. Yeah, the queuing on these on the SLD series has always been very reliable. I have never even had to replace the grease on them. So that's about it for this one, but I thought it'd be a fun table to do together, and let's get going on it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do, as always, is we're going to remove our platter and platter mat. definitely Matsushita. Oh, do we have a date here? No, it's just part number. So our bearing is not bad. A little gummy. We'll definitely lubricate that. Okay, so this turntable does not have a dust cover, and the reason it doesn't have a dust cover is because this family of tables has the dreaded dust cover with the I guess you could call it a thumb. It's at the back of the dust cover. There's two, I guess, thumbs, fingers, whatever, that go into these hinges here, and these hinges are under a lot of spring pressure, and when you pull the dust cover down, it puts a lot of strain on those tabs. Tabs is a good word, let's use tabs. And what happens is they just basically break right off. There are some people on forums and so forth who have done some 3D printing of replacement tabs. I don't want to call them hinges because these are the hinges. Okay? This is the hinge. The tab is part of the dust cover, and that's what breaks. And they've actually, some of them have made them out of 3D printer plastic. And what you do is you cut off the original tab and you basically screw these in, so it's a lot more solid. And some have done them out of solid aluminum. So the aluminum ones, obviously you can't print those, but they're pre-formed and cut and drilled with the hole. So you're going to have to drill your own dust cover. So you reuse your own dust cover, but you have to remove the old tabs. But it's a great way to keep your dust cover, because it's pretty common for any kind of SLD, SLQ series to have that dust cover. So because we don't have a dust cover, we're going to want to protect our tone arm. So I'm just going to put down just a towel. That should keep it soft enough so that we're not putting it under any undue stress. Oh, here's a date code. No, date code 5AO. Not sure exactly what that is. The bottom is definitely different than Technics, so much cheaper. Just pressed cardboard here, whereas Technics you'll have a hard plastic base. So these are definitely cheaper in that sense. So we're just going to suffer through the screw removal because there's only about 8. Again, I want to apologize for the quality of picture and sound in this video. I will have a new camera coming. But if you do want to still put down a recommendation for a decent webcam, that would be great. Alrighty. So immediately I'm noticing something here. If you can see that, this is the anti-skating right here, and the grease is absolutely gummed up. That's why it's not turning nicely. I think what we're going to do with I think the spring isn't even moving properly. I think what we're going to do is we're going to spray that with a little WD-40 and let that soak in while we service the rest of the table. We'll just let that sit. And we can service pots and switches. So our switches and pots are going to be under this board here. And I guess 2 or 3 screws here. Probably have to remove this knob. Now come up. And there we go. Alright, this thing's really dirty. So there's our pitch control and our speed selector switch. Okay. So we're going to grab ourselves some contact cleaner. We'll go with neutral again. A shot. And we're going to work it back and forth. And then our pot. I think I'm going to have to remove this black knob. Looks like a single screw. Or is it? Oh, yep. Take that off. And here's our pot. It is also quite filthy. It looks like it's a sealed pot. To clean up some of this dust. Yeah, these are not easy to get at. You're going to have to try to get a little bit of contact cleaner in whatever crack or crevice you have. Try not to get it in your eye. And just let it soak in, like that. That should be fine. Put that back on. Looks like it sits in a little crevice. Okay, why aren't you going in? Let's take that screw out. Can't really see where the screw is going. There we go. There we go. Great. Now just work that back and forth. And we'll put it back in where it belongs. And put our screws back in. I don't think there's any other electronic controls. Queuing looks like it's just controlled by a rod. That's fine. Let's see how our pitch control is doing here. Is it better? A little bit. Starting to loosen up. Like I said, WD-40 is an excellent degreaser. Does a great job. That's loosened up nicely. Perfect. That'll act as a little bit of a lubricant as well. It's not going to go anywhere. You don't move your anti-skating that often. Just want to make sure that the spring's actually pulling, and it is. Other than that, there's not a whole lot to this. Is that a blown fuse? Good heaven almighty, we have a blown fuse. Or do we? I see a little black mark in there. Can you see that? Let's test that. Just put your meter on continuity mode. I'm just going to check this fuse here. That's good. I have no idea what that is. It's funny because I have been working on some turntables that I haven't filmed, and I did repair one turntable with a blown fuse and a bad capacitor. I've had a couple turntables with blown fuses, which is really strange because there's not a whole heck of a lot in the turntables that you would think that why are you blowing a fuse, right? Overcurrent perhaps, lightning strike. Just going to clean off this gummy stuff here. I just want to check the connection board where the cables are mounted, which is right under here. Just want to make sure that nothing is damaged under there, because I'm going to put new ends. And that's all fine. Nicely soldered. Okay, so I think we're good to button this one up now. There's really not a lot left to do on it on the insides here. The plugs that I'm going to use for this one are going to be your El Cheapo eBay plugs, not the metal ones, the plastic ones. The owner's already stated that he does not want to spend a lot of money on this, and that's exactly what I'm going to do, is not spend a lot of time on it or charge him a lot of money. He's going to have to spend money on a cartridge for it, and honestly, just because of the branding on this, and you know, it's not a bad table. Like I said, it's a Technics SLD series. But, you know, people are going to raise their noses, right? They're going to say, oh, it's just a Radio Shack turntable. So it'll fetch a lot less than a Technics branded one. So it's going to be a quick repair, and it's going to be, you know, a quick sale for him. He just wants it out and gone. Okay, so what we're going to do is lubricate our main bearing. Use some Singer oil, put it in bearing, let her soak in, work it in a little bit, and that's it. We're just going to test it for speed stability now, see how it looks. Platter. Plug it in. And let's see. Very stable. Pitch is nice. 33, 45, also stable, so won't have to play with the pitch. The super fine tuning pitch controls, so this is great. Easy sale, good torque. Auto return works. Should shut off. Perfect. Alright, so I guess really, sorry for the lack of excitement, but that's basically all there is to this one. I am going to put on a set of I'm going to put on a set of RCA cables, RCA plugs. I'm sure this right one's fine, but this left one's had it. So we're going to replace those, and we're going to send this one down the road. And I don't want to make this video too long because this camera is a complete piece of crap. And hopefully I get a new one very soon, and I can film my next table repair on that. Alright, so thanks for tuning in to Turntable Guy, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.